Hi, my name's Bo and welcome to the Results-Based Training Podcast. We have small group training facilities in and around South Manchester, Altrincham, Urmston, Timpley, and we work with men and women circa 35 to 40 plus in trying to build the gym into a part of their lifestyle for various reasons. And we've started this podcast with a view to getting guests on so we can explain their journeys. They can talk about their highs and lows through health and fitness and how they've made it work for themselves and the benefits along the way. In today's episode, we've got our first female guest on, a lady called Nicola, who's been a member of our female-only gym, TBT Fitness in Altrincham, for the last 3 years. In today's episode, Nicola shares her journey all the way from school, her relationship with fitness from things like PE, her first interactions with, for example, a commercial gym, and her general approach of doing cardio, all the way through to what triggered her to start with TBT Fitness and get into lifting weights, and all of the little things that she's experienced along her journey. I hope you enjoy watching. Nicola, thank you very much for coming down today and giving us your time on a Sunday. Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that it's also cracking the flags outside. It's
very nice out there, but yeah.
I'm sure there's a few other places you'd rather be, but no, I do appreciate it. I like to get clients onto the podcast episodes so that we can explore their relationships with health and fitness and create, things that are going to be relatable to people watching it who aren't quite maybe ready for the gym.
Yeah.
They've thought about it a few times, but they're put off, or they just don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
They're hearing all this noise about health, fitness, lifting weights, that kind of stuff. And the idea is to create stuff that inspires them, to maybe get started somewhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's easy for us to assume sometimes when we're watching someone online that they've got it easy somehow, or they're naturally into it. They have been forever, a real gym head, right? So I'd love to just start with a bit of background about yourself, what you do, what your week looks like, and then a bit of context as to your relationship with training, from young, I guess, to understand it.
Okay,
Far away.
Cool. So I've got 2 teenage kids. So I've got a 18-year-old son, 15-year-old daughter, so a little bit older. Full-time job, full-on full-time job.
What kind of industry are you in?
So I work as a transport consultant.
Okay.
So I work with cities across the country, mainly in the north.
Do you travel with that?
I do travel.
You do travel with that?
Fair bit, yeah.
Okay.
So maybe 1 or 2 days a week I'll be out and about.
Yeah.
In the office, maybe 3 days. And then at home, sort of around that. So each week is kind of a bit different. So I don't have a sort of very fixed schedule. So kind of working out where I'm going to fit the gym might change. Might look a bit different every week. Okay. So do you have like a schedule a week before then or so, for example? Or I'll usually work out on a Sunday roughly how the week's going to go.
Yeah, me too.
My husband will be away maybe every fortnight as well, so that's like an extra thing in the mix.
Extra hurdle.
And we've got a dog, and so there's all these other things that are kind of trying to work out. The kids are more independent now, so that makes it a bit easier. But it's quite
okay.
Quite
so do you train at different times all week, or?
Yeah, so I guess probably my preferred time is coming first thing in the morning and just get it done. So I'm sort of part of the 6 a.m. crew quite a bit of the time, but I quite like coming in after work as well, just to kind of de-stress. So usually I'll try and come in first thing in the morning on a Monday and a Friday when I'm working from home, and then in the middle of the week I'll sort of fit it in whenever I can. So sometimes that'll be on a Wednesday or Thursday evening.
Do you train 3 times then, just on that note, or does it vary?
3 times mostly. I've sort of experimented over the 3 years with doing more. So for a period I was trying to do 4 or 5. I actually found that quite tiring, and so I've sort of settled back into 3 days a week as my kind of consistent commitment, and then maybe I'll do 4 if I've got time and sort of feel like I've got the energy.
Okay. But interesting.
Sort of learning to pace yourself a little bit, and
I want to unpack that a little bit later on. I think.
Out,
I was going to ask you about that, how it's changed perhaps over the years for you.
Yeah.
So talk to me about like when you were younger then, like the gym. I guess from school all the way through. Like, was it something you naturally fit, or?
At school, I was completely put off sport through PE because I wasn't particularly naturally sporty in a team sports kind of sense.
Okay.
So I think that completely put me off sport, which I feel really sad about now. Looking back, I just think that's really bad. If you weren't like good enough to play for the school team, you were just kind of almost kind of written off.
You had to fit in a box, right? Definitely. For school sports. A bit like school in general, I guess.
Yeah.
But
And so I didn't really do sport. I did a lot of music at school, so that was kind of my sort of team type thing, if you like. But I would say I was reasonably active. I'd walk quite a long way to school every day. I would play badminton and a bit of tennis and just kind of very sociable stuff. But I never saw myself as a sporty, fit kind of person at all.
Okay.
And at uni, the same. We'd occasionally do like the odd aerobics class or bits and pieces like that, but nothing consistent at all. So it probably wasn't until I was in my 20s or 30s that I started doing things like yoga. I remember starting to go to Virgin Gym in town when I was getting ready to get married and trying to get a bit fitter.
Okay,
Did a bit of that, but nothing ever very consistent. And then, I don't know, probably, maybe in my later 30s started playing squash again, which I really enjoy.
Nice, yeah.
I'm not brilliant at it, but I really enjoy it. And so that was kind of my sort of fun thing, just to get a bit more exercise in. Started doing a little bit of running. And I did do the Manchester 10K probably when my daughter was about 1 or 2, and that was kind of a way of getting a bit fitter after having kids.
To get stuck into.
That you could sort of fit in around having kids and sort of fit it in. When
out of the gym, interestingly.
Out of the gym.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't go to the gym at all when the kids were younger.
So the Virgin Active days.
Yeah.
What did you do there then? What was the kind of? Was there a bit of an approach, a plan?
I think it was all cardio stuff.
Okay.
So I think I'd do like the odd spinning class, a little bit of yoga, mess around on the machines, but I didn't really know what I was doing, so I never did anything very consistently. Never ever lifted like a barbell until I came here, actually.
Yeah, wicked.
And then during COVID, kind of everything went out the window, didn't it? So I decided to commit to doing yoga every day, which was amazing for like my mental health and flexibility and everything. I've always been quite naturally good at yoga because I am quite flexible. So I enjoy doing that, but I really enjoy the relaxation and the kind of focus side of that.
Because you're so busy, right? You know what I mean? Like even commenting on it at the beginning there, many plates to spin.
Yeah.
So you get a bit of time for you. Did you see it as time for yourself?
Yeah. I get in my head quite easily. So
me too.
So I find yoga really good for that. I was doing a lot of walking, obviously. Everyone was, weren't they?
Yeah.
Round around John Lee Park.
Yeah, man. Wore the pavement out during COVID, mate. Yeah.
And then I did buy some dumbbells and I bought a kettlebell and I was doing bits and pieces of just stuff on watching YouTube. But I laugh now because I was using a 10K kettlebell, which felt really heavy at the time.
You use 4 in each hand.
I'm just like, I just can't,
mega.
Okay. Sometimes we're using like 28, 32K.
Yeah, easy, mate.
Dumbbells,
strong,
aren't we?
right? Yeah.
So that's kind of, looking back now, I think, gosh, that is like quite a transformation, really.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would say I am quite self-motivated, but I think I'm probably a bit naturally lazy. So I would maybe stop after 10, 15, 20 minutes, think, oh, that's enough. So when I first came here, like doing a full-on hour, I know that if I was just left to my own devices, I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. You're not on your own there, mate. I mean, I'm honestly the same.
Yeah.
I'm honestly the same. I think anything with someone there holding me, kind of pushing me, a bit of accountability as well.
Yeah.
It's much better.
A little bit of peer pressure.
Not
in a negative way.
Yeah, it's right. Well, you want to get it done though, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You want to get it done. I think that's part of the fulfillment from it.
Yeah.
Feeling like you're progressing. So
yeah.
Okay. So we did the 10K.
Yeah.
A little while back. When you've come to start with us then, was there a bit of a moment where that kind of, did something motivate you to kind of, maybe get into it a bit more, or obviously it's a bit of a step from what you were doing at the time?
It's trying to sort of remember back, isn't it, what mindset you're in? But I think it was this time of year, so it was almost exactly 3 years ago that I joined. You're sort of coming into the summer, I think you're thinking, I need to ramp up my exercise a bit, I need to tone up a bit. An advert must have popped up on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere.
Apologies for that.
Yeah. And I wasn't quite sure. I was like, is this legit? Is this legit?
100%. I get it. Trust me. I won't trust me
but
either.
I thought, I'll do the 6 week thing. See how we get on. That would take me into the summer. If I don't like it, I'll just stop, and it'll maybe just give me a bit more accountability and just push me a little bit harder. So I came in at, I think on the 7 a.m. session, like really nervous, like, oh my God, and looking around at all these women who seem to be really super fit, and I was like, oh God, I don't know if I can keep up with them. And then just being given a barbell for the first time.
So you just got thrown straight in there. It's interesting because we've developed what we do obviously over the years, so we don't quite do it like that.
I mean, it wasn't intimidating, but I think it was all in my head, like, and thinking that everyone, like, oh my God, they're all so super fit. But a lot of them have been coming for a long time, especially in those early morning sessions. And
I think they all know what it's like to walk in on that first day as well. So okay then, so you signed up, you obviously spoke to one of us, potentially me, and you've come in. What's that morning been like then? Because this is relatable stuff, right? People don't go to the gym because of the way it makes them feel. They write it off before it's even an option. I think because of that feeling, and I've had that feeling many times before. So what did you do? How did you do that then?
It was really brilliant. I remember just taking you through, right, not assuming that I knew anything. I did know a little bit about some of the moves already, so I wasn't, because I've done stuff at home, but like I said, I'd never used a barbell. So I remember trying to do a chest press for the first time, and I could barely get the barbell off my chest without any weights on at all. And the same with squatting as well. I really struggled with that. I was like, I thought I had quite strong legs. My legs were just like, just kind of all like caving in on themselves. So, but I just remember being taken. I think the coaches are really good at giving a lot of attention to newbies and just giving them a lot of support. And all the other women in the gym were like really supportive as well. So I remember doing the first 20 minutes and going, oh my God, am I going to get to the end of this hour? But coming out and feeling, wow, that's amazing. I've like really.
So on the note of your 6 weeks then, how would you say, because obviously we're looking back now knowing it's been a huge success for you, right? Because you've trained now for 3 years. And we'll unpack a bit of what that journey's been like for you over that time, because it's been really cool. What would you have said was a good bit about, or the way that you approached perhaps that 6 weeks, or the mindset at the time? Again, you've already said, listen, I'll just do it for the 6 weeks. If I don't like it, it's fine. So there's a little less pressure perhaps on it. But what would you say has served you well then in them early days of being, consistent, making it part of your routine?
I think it's a lot of effort to start with, just to fit it into your week, because you're not used to having that extra thing to squeeze into your already busy schedule, which is why I went for the 6 a.m, because I could do that. I could be back before the kids had gone to school to make sure they were they can sort themselves out now, but 3 years ago they were sort of still young enough. I needed to make sure they actually got up and got out. So that's what I really liked about the 6 a.m. It's hard work getting up that early, but you get it done. Still almost nobody really notices in the family, because you're back.
You're giving yourself less opportunities for something to happen at that time, aren't you? But it takes a lot of commitment getting up at that time.
It was hard, and I was tired those first 6 weeks. So I'd say just making the space in your diary, working out where you can fit it in, commit to it. And I think I did do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and if I couldn't do it in one of those days, I would do a Saturday or a Sunday just to get that extra one in. But I tried to get it in the Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
You're so quite disciplined with it then, really.
I tried to be in that first 6 weeks, because I knew if I didn't do that, I wouldn't get here. And I was tired, so if I do that 6 a.m, I do remember sort of feeling really tired through the day. I was like, oh my God. But there were other things as well, because I think I probably talked to you about it. At that point, I was trying to push my breakfast later, so I wasn't eating anything before I came in as well. And then I realised this isn't working. I haven't got enough energy to get through those sessions. So I started having some breakfast before I came, which again is quite hard when you're coming in early.
Really early, right?
But just having a Weetabix or a banana or just something, and that made an absolutely massive difference.
Okay, interesting.
But those 6 weeks I was also going for job interviews.
Wow.
So there was a lot going on outside of work as well. But there was something about coming to the gym, getting through those sessions, doing it 3 times a week, that I don't know, something in my brain kind of went, wow, this is like, I can do this. And it was making me feel kind of much more kind of capable and resilient.
Yeah, I mean, well, you've really ramped everything up, haven't you? And randomly you'd think adding it all in at the same time might be the worst idea, maybe. So again, for anyone listening, that feels a bit like that.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy on the phone the other day, and he'd already shared that he had a lot going on, and we were talking about coming and starting at the gym, and he kind of finished off with, I just haven't got the time to do it. And I said this exact thing to him. I think I have this conversation, most of the people that we talk to don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
You know, we fill our weeks already. But interestingly, which you've said there is, once you start feeling, I guess it's feeling the routine, you're sort of happy with yourself because you're getting it done, right? You're committing to it. And but then it's almost much easier. Yeah. I feel like the energy, you know, the discipline, the rhythm that you're getting.
I think particularly towards the end of that 6 weeks, and I could see the progress already. Because when you come from nothing, like really doing very little strength training, you do make progress really quite quickly, especially in that environment where you've got coaches who are really there tailoring, you know, you're all following broadly the same structure, but they're really tailoring the weights and everything to you, focusing on your technique. You can actually I could physically feel the difference. I could see the difference. And I could see my weights going up. So I was like, okay, right, well, I've got to keep going with this now. I can't stop after 6 weeks.
And so interestingly, but you wouldn't have said you were particularly bothered about, you know, lifting the weights before, really.
No,
so it's kind of become a bit, it's done it itself almost, hasn't it? You know, you've got a bit of a bug for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like it's a nice thing? You know, we've not spoken about, you know, in this chat, we've not spoken about diet and things like that and body composition, but do you think it's a nice thing to be able to focus on away from the typical reasons somebody might join a gym or, you know, feel like that's why they need to go? I think it's that language sometimes. I've got to go because of this. I want to do this.
I think I probably came in thinking I want to lose some weight. And now it's more about I want to be strong. I want to, you know, I'm going into just turned 50. I want to like go into this period of my life feeling strong and capable.
Fighting aging.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's become much more about that than, I mean, I haven't lost weight, but my body composition's definitely changed. I've definitely got more.
I think that's
more
really
muscle.
cool. I think that's really interesting. Good thing to highlight, actually, because I think what happens a lot of the time when people maybe listen to these chats or they see videos of us in the gym and testimonials, they think people are gym heads, you know, or they're gym bunnies. They're really into it. But interestingly, it actually can happen naturally, even if you're not in the beginning, perhaps with the right environment, the right coach. I really believe in that. I think that's so true. Because I didn't like the gym. I absolutely hated it. I fucking hated it, honestly. Getting me in there, my heart was in my mouth. My ego would get me injured. I'd lift something too heavy, and then I'd be out of the gym 3 weeks. I'd be in absolute agony, and it was just a cycle of that. I didn't like it at all. But it changed for me. And interestingly, it changed for me when I met people. It was nothing to do with the gym. It was or itself. It was the circle. So I just kind of befriended a few people, and then they kind of took me along. And it's a bit like what we do here. You know, that camaraderie, that group environment.
And you start to, if you come to the same session regularly, you know, there's the same, especially on the 6 a.m, there's 4 or 5 people that sort of regularly go to that. And we all know what we're kind of working on. We all know kind of, you know, I struggle with bench press. That's the thing that I find hardest. So we're all like cheering each other on when we kind of get a PB. It's a really nice environment. But not in a like a horribly competitive way. Just a kind of supportive. Like,
just enough to get you going. I think it might feel competitive, reasonable. It might feel a touch negative. I think until you get comfortable with yourself and then you realise it's not. Because nobody's like that. I don't think in the gym. I actually think the competitive nature is fun. You know, it kind of keeps it a little bit inspiring.
Does,
and we all have days, you know, where we're not in that zone, where we're not competing, you know, and that's totally fine as well, right? So,
and it's sort of seeing the progress over a period of time, isn't it? Rather than every session has got to be amazing. It's like, you know, that you'll have some weeks where you're really on it, and other weeks when you're not feeling it in the same way. But you just keep coming, and over time you really see that progression. That consistency I think has really served you well. It definitely has. Really good. It's really and again, might come across quite disciplined, but I think I feel like you're a little bit like that potentially. I feel like you've even on your 6 weeks, you've been like, I'm going to do my Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to get it done. Again, quite a shift. But you know, look at what it's turned into. It's a great takeaway for somebody listening.
getting stuck in at the start. I say to a lot of people on the phone these days to, because we actually do a 4-week program now, not a 6-week.
Yeah.
And I find it's easier for somebody to think it's only 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Can I manage
4
it?
weeks feels more manageable.
But I do say to them, try to, where possible, don't take anything else on.
Yeah.
Don't treat it like a side thought.
Yeah.
Treat it like I'm actually
investing
in this right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
now it's just like
it.
an automatic part of my routine, and I know I'll get the sessions in whatever else is going on.
Yeah.
Even if I have to do them, bunch them up on a Friday and a Saturday or whatever, I'll get them done. But yeah, when I started, that's all I could think about is like, right, how am I gonna just get to the gym? But that's what I like about it. All you have to do is get yourself here.
Yeah, to the door. Yeah.
And it's not like then, now what am I going to do and what am I going to focus on? It's like you just get in and.
I think it's a really easy way to become demotivated in the gym.
Yeah.
I train with a PT.
Yeah.
And I don't hide this at all. I train with a PT because he beasts me.
Yeah.
He gets the most out of me. He holds me accountable.
Yeah.
I'm investing in it. I've got to be there when I said I'm going to be there. I've been to the gym group 100 times and walked out halfway through a workout.
Yeah.
And it isn't because I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't be asked.
Yeah.
And especially when we're busy. The brain is ticking, and whether it's work or like I'm just constantly thinking about work when I'm in the gym.
Yeah.
And when you have somebody there coaching you, and you've made that appointment, something about it just changes. I don't think about work one bit.
Yeah.
I'm listening to what he's asking me to do.
Yeah.
I'm pushing myself. Yeah. And you leave feeling like you've done that bit more. So it's kind of like a big cycle, isn't it? I think the gym industry is really not helping matters, because I think they put these 20 quid a month gym memberships out there.
Yeah.
What do you actually get?
Yeah.
You just get access.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are incredibly unwelcoming, unfriendly environments.
Yeah.
And again, even though I wasn't always comfortable with the gym, but this is like 15 years on now, but I still feel like that when I go into them.
Yeah.
So I think the coaching method that is, the way forward.
Definitely. And it feels like quite a big investment when you first start out. You're thinking that's a lot of money to be spending each month. But then when you realise you're basically getting effectively 3 sessions of personal training a week.
Yeah.
I know there might be 8 people in the class, but mostly, in the
you're
morning it might be 2,
3,
4 people. So you're actually getting a lot of personal attention.
Yeah.
And I think the concept's the same. Value.
Yeah. Whether it's semi-private or not, I actually think, truthfully, that semi-private's better.
Yeah.
What happens when you have one-to-one is naturally at some point it becomes stagnant because you get comfortable with the PT gets comfortable with you, you spend more time chatting about your day than you do getting the job done.
Yeah.
In the group setting, because of all the other things you've mentioned, I think they add value.
Yeah.
And yes, they do actually allow it to be a little bit more competitive than £40 an hour, £50 an hour.
Yeah.
It is an investment, 100%.
Yeah.
In a way, I think it's got to be.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be. I think when we buy things that we don't think about, they have less, urgency or focus and it's a shame it's got to be like that.
Yeah.
But I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's true.
I totally agree. Yeah.
So the coaching element then, what's that like then? So for somebody wondering, it's semi-private, I've got this injury, but my body's a bit like this. How does it work then in the gym?
Yeah. So mostly in TBT at Radium, it's Kieran and Anthony. So most of the time it will be one or other of them. So they get to know you really well. You get to know them really well. They know how hard to push you. Mm-hmm. And again, it's like just that right kind of level of, I know you can do another rep. I know you can do a bit more weight. Let's just try it. I'm here. I'll help you through it. Yeah. Which is great. And they'll check in with you as well outside of the session. So.
Okay. So for example, if you had something that you wanted just a bit of advice on, or wanted to be held a little bit accountable for a short period of time or something like that.
Definitely. Yeah. And if you've got any kind of niggles or whatever, then they'll just adjust the session or the exercise or whatever. Although I've had very few niggles since I've been here, which I think again is a really good sign.
It is.
I just think it's because we do mobility as well, don't we? At the beginning,
we do a proper job. Yeah,
it's only a short period, but I've realised that has really kept my mobility going, even though I've been doing less, yoga and stuff like that.
I think the yoga probably served you well.
Yeah.
In the first instance, to be honest. I think yoga alongside strength training or
Pilates
really or something like that.
Yeah,
I think they work quite well.
I agree. So we have I think it's a great atmosphere in the gym. There's always kind of we have a bit of fun every time we go
Good
in.
camaraderie.
We all know each other well now.
And the coaches don't take themselves too seriously.
They don't take themselves seriously
Fabulous.
at all.
Yeah, that's good. That's good though. That's good, right?
Yeah, and they're
good.
an environment with, it's all women in there, but they're not. I don't know. It doesn't feel like you're being judged in any way.
Yeah, good.
Until you're just being pushed enough to kind of get the best out of the sessions and to make you feel like you've done, you've worked hard and you've got your time
in. I think this is the thing for momentum. That's what it's a knock-on effect, I believe. Because when you feel like you're progressing, you want to go back. Yeah. It's like dialing diet in a little bit. And there's various methods of doing that. But I feel like, and this is something I say to people a lot now, as I learn more about this job and what we're doing, is just focus on the training first of all. Yeah. Because actually, if you get consistent in that, it's much easier to, what happens is instead of you telling yourself, oh, I shouldn't eat that or I shouldn't eat that, you kind of want to. Yeah. And wanting to and telling yourself you shouldn't are two totally different things, right? Yeah. If it comes from within, I know, but I've done well this week, or I'm pushing for this, or this result is happening, Yeah. And so I find it's much easier to dial those things in when just training's going well, you're progressing, you're seeing results in the gym. Yeah. In terms of results, then, what impact would you say strength training has had on your life in general?
I think it's been massive. I mean, some of it is psychological in terms of just feeling stronger mentally as well as physically, which is weird, which I hadn't sort of expected.
Does that come from doing things you didn't think you could do?
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Yeah. When I've gone back to doing running, so I signed up for a 10K, having not done any running really since I joined the gym, and stupidly did it with very little training. But somehow the TBT, the combination of the strength, even though we don't do tons and tons of cardio, there's obviously enough cardio in there that I managed to run like a reasonable time. I wasn't breaking any records, but I got round.
But it felt okay.
It felt fine. So going back to running was good, and I felt like I could run much stronger because my legs were stronger. I wasn't feeling like I used to get niggly knees and all sorts of niggles. We were just discussing this
before you arrived, actually, about running.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the strength training and then doing, I mean, I don't love running, it's not, but it's it's something that's kind of easy to fit in around other things. So sort of
and a bit of headspace. Does it give you headspace running?
Once I've got through the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, man, I hear that. I absolutely hear that, honestly. I'd rather knock on a few doors to give myself a reason to run for the first 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean?
I like running with other people as well. So I go through periods of having other people that I'll go out and run with, and that's quite nice. And then, I don't know, beginning of last year, I think Anthony said to me, have you heard of High Rocks? I was like, what's High Rocks? Never heard of that. So I was like, got home, went on YouTube, it's like, oh, that looks interesting.
Yes,
I could never do that. But I ended up signing up and like getting a charity place in the Birmingham High Rocks last October, and then thought, oh my God, what have I done?
I think that's incredible. That's a massive thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that event, and even walking in to that event, quite overwhelming, right? Yeah. All these fitties like with their tops off, running around doing, and you're like,
quite a thing, isn't it?
I know it is. But even to book it and to, want to do it.
I did book it, and then the next few minutes thinking, what the hell have I done?
What have I done? Yeah. I love a bit of remorse.
Yeah. So I did that completely on my own. So then I was doing my training sessions in the gym. I did try and get an extra 1 or 2 in a week, but then having to fit in sort of doing more cardio, doing more running. I'd go to another gym to do a bit more on the
like the treadmill or something,
on the rower and the skier, just to get more in on that. But that for me, and I was sort of thinking, right, this I'm 49. I'm going to do this. This will be like my big challenge before I turn 50.
Would you do it again?
Maybe. I think I'd do it with somebody else because I think that would be that'd be good fun as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I've been trying to find a partner in here to do it, Nicola. So if you can, we'll do it together if you want.
Doubles, yeah.
Definitely, we can pull each other through it. Yeah,
but it did make me think like this is like not just the physical side, but to be able to mentally get through this. I felt like at the end of that, I felt really chuffed with myself.
Yeah, it's a form of resilience, I think.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, listen, that's phenomenal. Is there any like other sort of things in your life that have developed with as your health and fitness sort of journey has developed? Is there different things you do in your life now? Is it I don't know, do you view health and fitness differently now a few years into?
I think so, yeah. I think you sort of keep making tweaks, don't you, all the time? And because I'm sort of going through sort of menopause and all of that side of things as well, then I'm constantly having to, things that used to work don't work so well for me now. So the other thing that I did 2 years ago was pretty much give up alcohol. Okay. Which, I mean, that was a massive thing. I do remember
talking to you about that. Yeah.
So I did dry January.
Yeah, it started off as a 4-week thing, right?
Yeah, I did dry January, and then I was like, actually, I'm feeling much better on this. I was getting really bad anxiety and my sleep was very disrupted. And I noticed that even if I'd only had 1 or 2 drinks, that it was like 10 times worse. And I was just like, actually, this isn't worth it anymore. And
so do you not drink now?
I do occasionally have a drink. So like if it's like a birthday, like a big birthday or something like that. But now I find I can just have 1 or 2 and stop, whereas before once I had 1 or 2, I'd want another couple. And
naturally. Does interestingly, because I'm very similar with alcohol, and I find now, after having like a long period of time where I haven't drank really, it really doesn't make me feel good.
No.
Mad that,
and it's not worth it. And like the weekends feel so much longer when I haven't drunk, because you wake up, on a Saturday morning, reasonably clear-headed and feeling like you've got the whole day ahead. Yeah, without that sort of lingering kind of feeling of being slightly hungover, even if you only had 1 or 2. So, yeah, that's made a big difference.
Brilliant.
And now I'm sort of playing around with caffeine, because again, I'm just finding I've got less and less tolerance of caffeine. Okay, interesting. So I am still having like 1 coffee in the morning, but I might have been having 2 or 3 before.
So you're just finding it's giving you like a bit of anxiety again? Or?
Yeah.
Interestingly, again, I'm the same.
And then a big dip in the sort of afternoon, early evening, and then disrupting my sleep, even though I wasn't really drinking it much after lunchtime. So all these things.
But you know what's interesting is it didn't start like that.
Yeah.
And again, this is the thing I want to highlight, I think, is like, it's just a journey. And you saying about adding tweaks in. To somebody now who's just not even started, it's like, it's almost quite extreme. We get labelled a little bit extreme, right, within this. It's mad how people, you go to the gym too much and all that. But it's like, well, it's just happened naturally. Yeah. It's just what I've become comfortable with. I'm not making myself do it. Yeah. Again, it's like a desire to do it rather than
And it just becomes a habit, doesn't it? So it's not actually so much effort anymore. And then at the moment, I'm focusing more on protein and how I can get that.
Yeah, there's something that we harp on about all the time, right? It's almost boring, isn't it? So what's your kind of approach with that? What do you make of that? How do you build it into family life, for example? Yeah,
I think it's breakfast that's the hardest one for me, because I'm sort of rushing around in the morning. And I still don't know if this is the right thing, but the thing that I've found works for me is overnight oats, but with loads of other stuff in, because I can just make up like 5 jars of the dry ingredients on a Sunday, and then just add like Greek yogurt and milk like the night before.
You just do that the night before, perfect.
But I put loads of seeds in and protein,
so it's quite a tasty
protein powder and berries and just loads and loads of extra stuff in, and because then I can just have that in the fridge. I can grab it. I can have it when I get to work or have it straight after going to the gym, and it's kind of easy and quick. So that's kind of the way I've. Do you think you've always naturally eaten quite well, or do you feel like again that's developed? What's your opinion on nutrition? How do you what do you? I think I think I was brought up on quite a healthy diet. Mum and Dad were always quite strict about junk food. Then I probably went off the rails when I went to uni. That's what's going to happen with my daughter. I think she's going to say exactly the same to me. Honestly, Dad. Went off the rails at uni, but I guess because I had that great. I knew that eating well kind of made me feel better. So so I do always come back to that. So I think my diet's pretty good, but I do have a habit of kind of probably snacking when I'm bored and that kind of thing, but mostly healthy stuff. So I would say I do eat pretty healthily. Cook and things like that. I think it's half the battle, personally. I think if we're buying fresh-ish ingredients and turning it into something, I think that's it's just trying to keep it simple, isn't it? So it doesn't become a major chore. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you ever see them memes online where it's like the parent is like, I have to think of what to fucking eat for dinner every night for the rest of my life. And honestly, and I hate planning it for the week. I know you should plan it for the whole week, but I just can't. Yeah, no, because that feels like it's even more like
rigid, doesn't it? It's even more of a thing that I've got to do. And
I mean, you've got teenagers, some of them, they'll be out one night when you're expecting them to be home, and then you're just like, oh God, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a pain. It's a pain.
But the air fryer's been good.
Air fryer, great touch,
putting a bit
man.
of fish or chicken or whatever in the air fryer.
It's a great way to cook, simple, bit of flavour. Okay then, so you've mentioned a couple of times how exercise helps you mentally.
Yeah.
What's, why do you think, and how would somebody else benefit from that, do you think? What does it do for you?
I think it's a massive stress reliever for me. I don't know quite what it is, whether it's like the endorphins from the actual workout or the social side of it. I think a bit of both. It's like you say, when you're in training with a trainer and lots of other people, you don't think about work
got time
or
to think about stuff,
other stuff that's going on. So for me, that's massively important. I always come away feeling much more clear-headed. I'm pleased with myself because I've achieved something.
Yeah, nice.
And that's why I quite like doing it in the morning, because you start the day, you're like, I've done something hard. I've crossed that thing off my list before anyone else is even up. And
it's good. So it's almost as well like because we spoke about this on a podcast episode the other week, it's like also doing what you said you were going to do.
Holding yourself accountable. Yeah. Massive.
Really improves,
because every time the alarm goes off at like 5:15 or whatever, you're like, no, I'm going to do it because I know I feel better for it. And you always do. I think that stress relief side of it's massive for me. Important. And I think, as you say, trying to combine that with yoga, a bit of meditation, all of those things for me have really, really helped with sort of stress and anxiety and menopause symptoms and all of that. Yeah. So
Do you feel like it shows up in other areas of your life then, when the training or the benefit from the training, like in work? Are you have more clarity, or
I definitely feel more resilient at work. I think things that would kind of knock me off don't so much anymore. And again, that feeling like I know what I'm capable of in the gym. Yeah. That definitely,
I love that,
kind of bleeds into other bits of your life. So which is really hard to describe if you haven't.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I can relate to it. Well, I can relate to it because I hear it quite a bit, and I understand what you mean. But I think that's really cool. Yeah, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
Because you're just building your confidence and your resilience inside. Yeah. So it's just a natural thing. It just comes from within you.
Definitely.
You don't need validation. Yeah. Because it's the things that you're doing that are doing it for you, which is really mega. Yeah. I think it's so cool, so important.
Yeah. And we've done like good social stuff as a group, as a sort of community as well.
Yeah.
We did a few of us did the Altrincham 10K, as a team, and Ez came along and ran it as well, which was really good fun. Some of us played netball one summer, like in the evenings, so we just had a little mini TBT netball team.
Yeah, and it's nice because you all share a bit of a common, you're at that kind of stage of your life where you share that commonality, right? So
so sort of other stuff as well, which has been a nice sort of spin-off, which I didn't really expect. It's been brilliant. Good.
Okay, so let's start to wrap up then a little bit. So what would you say to somebody that's listened to this podcast? Thanks for listening to the podcast. But what advice would you give them? They're just not ready. They don't want to do it. They're not comfortable. They're listening to what you're saying and they're really liking the sound of it. Yeah. But they feel like it's really far apart. What would be the advice you would give them?
I would just say get yourself down here. I say it feels like a lot of money, and I totally get that. And it feels like a big commitment, but it's so worth it. The value you get back from it is just massive. And there's people of all levels, wide range of ages. I don't know how old the oldest person is in the gym.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even know, but like mid 60s, I'd say. But I'm probably the youngest, like 35 upwards,
Which is so inspiring. You see women of all ages, actually all walks of life, doing all sorts of different jobs, or, being stay-at-home mums or whatever. There's, all sorts of people just coming into the gym, pushing themselves to whatever level is appropriate for them. And I'm really enjoying it. You see so much on the chat, don't you? Like, that was a tough session, but that was amazing. Like, I really enjoyed it. So I would just say give it a go.
Do you think there's an element of because we interviewed a chap a few weeks back, and he said like no one's coming to save you. Do you feel like that's relevant? Do you feel like I always say when I'm talking to somebody, I get this with family.
Yeah.
Because obviously with your family, you really want to help them. Like, no, come on. You know, I know how it feels on the other side. Let's do this.
Yeah.
But I feel like people have to be ready.
Yeah.
They have to be ready. It's irrelevant of what I say or what someone else says.
Yeah.
But do you think there's an element of just kind of taking that responsibility a little bit in the beginning?
You do have to take responsibility, but it's really just to get yourself here and to do the best you can once you're here.
Yeah.
Because the program's been structured for you, the coaches are there to help you through it. So it's really your main responsibility is just to carve out that time and get here, and then the rest sort of follows. So you don't have to like think, oh God, what am I going to do next? Or I'm feeling a bit tired now.
Yeah, and also what other things are they going to ask of me? What other things am I going to have to fit in? Is this going to turn into this? It's literally just that, isn't it? Just carve that time out.
So you might not feel ready, but that sort of comes with just showing up and doing it. So yeah, it's kind of hard to sort of put your finger on what it is, but it is a case of just getting yourself here and experiencing it for yourself. Yeah.
Just get stuck in.
Yeah.
Perfect. I really appreciate you coming down today.
You're welcome.
You've been a perfect client for us. I think I was saying before, sometimes the stresses of the gym and the business is different, but when you talk to people that are taking part in what we're doing and you see them, it's amazing.
It's inspirational, isn't it? When you see how many
I get a real warm feeling about it. Like I love it. So appreciate you coming down.
You're very welcome.
And
that's fun.
See you in the gym soon.
That's good. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you. So I just wanted to say thanks ever so much to Nicola for coming in and giving us her time today. I hope if you've watched or listened to this podcast, you may have benefited from it. If there's anything that you found useful or relatable, please drop us a comment or share it with us. And if you would like more information on our small group training facility for women only in and around Altrincham, Timperley or Urmston, there is a link in the description of the video and you will get all your information there. Thanks very much. Have a lovely day.